Hello. How is everyone? You guys hear me? Just out of curiosity. I have a weird glitch. Just want to know. Yeah, okay. Cool. I wonder if I'm using my regular mic. I can't change it because I'm using the browser, which is very weird. Anyways, whatever. As long as you guys hear me, that's the important thing. Well, that's what I'm thinking too. Okay, David. Yeah, it sounds different, right? So let me just, if I move this away, you guys still hear me normally? If that's the case, then I'm on the camera. Something happened in the, okay. So I'm on the camera mic tonight. So it's gonna sound different, but we're gonna keep it like that because I had to restart the stream and have a new link if I have to change. I don't have any settings here that changes whatever. So anyways, it's okay. The important thing is that you guys hear me. For the rest, doesn't matter that much, honestly. I have better sound on the mic, but it's okay with the, let me just check something here. So, okay, that's mute, unmute. I don't know. It's all right like this. So hello, everybody. Welcome aboard. Hope you enjoy tonight's show. And I was looking at some of the stuff for Halloween that I need to get out. We are in October. So, hey, everybody. Welcome aboard. This is the Shortwave radio show. We are here to entertain. We are here twice a week, Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's 0 hours Universal Time, which means it's technically Thursday for a big chunk of the universe, and at least on Earth. And we are from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. My name is Gilles, and we talk about shortwave radio. I'm going to open a Rickards White for tonight's show, leftover from last Saturday. And of course, we are going to listen to shortwave, talk about shortwave, everything about radio. I was listening to Mali, Radio TV Malienne 5995, coming in well, but it was squeezed between two very strong signals, one from CRI on 5990 from Cuba and Cuba on 6000. So it's kind of hard to get to, but I could hear the very distinctive music from Mali on 5995. So we are going well. So, of course, we talk about radio, shortwave radio. We have fun talking about radio. I'm going to talk about the radio I ordered this week, which is the Texan PL330. So there's going to be fun. Let me just check the status. So it's shipped. If I look at my eBay, it was shipped. And if I look at the tracking, it says that it arrived in Dongguan, Guangdong Regional Distribution Center. So it's somewhere in China. Yeah, still. It should be arriving at some point, I guess. So it's been shipped 2 days ago. We are Wednesday. It shipped on late Monday, early Tuesday morning. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and of course we're going to tune the bands and check out signals a little bit. We're going to see what's on the air, and we're going to answer some questions. Let me check email. I need to check email. Check on my phone. It's kind of a million times easier on the phone than it is here. So let me just check that out. Well, let's check it out. 6922. Is it still on? Yeah, I think it is. We have. Yep. 6922 upper sideband is Zeke's Attic Pirate. So kind of cool. Pirate is active, and now can you hear it over here? Zeke's Attic 6922 upper sideband. You guys are going to hear it better now because I'm using the camera's mic. So you should hear when I actually turn on the audio of the. We have in the email. We have Elizabeth that says hello from Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. We have Jonas that says hello. He's located in Alberta, Canada, and says that he tuned for the first time to the show last week and that he really enjoys this. He didn't know this existed. He would have tuned in a long time ago. Thank you for everything you do. Well, thank you for checking in. And he says, I don't have a Gmail account and do not wish to have one. This is why I'm not in the chat room. But I wanted to say hello. So hello there, Jonas in Alberta, Canada. Nice to have you here. And nice to have Elizabeth and to have everybody here. Cheers. Let's have a little sip of beer. So we talk about radio, shortwave radio, tune to bands. Zeke's Attic Pirate 6922 upper sideband. Hope that you guys enjoy the show today. We have some questions we'll try to answer through the show. Some on the text in PL990X and so much more to talk about. Beautiful chat room with wonderful people that are really great during the show. You have to be logged into a Gmail account to actually be in here. But it's fun to have everybody on board. And great people. If you have questions, if you have anything you want to ask, this is the place where you will be welcome with any question, from the newbie that doesn't know what he's doing to the guy that is advanced and still has questions. Because don't forget, we don't know everything. We all have our little side of a hobby that we aren't as good as the rest. So you might be really, really knowledgeable in some aspect of the hobby, but not everywhere. It's fun to be here and to be able to answer your questions. And of course, people here are great, and it's fun. It's a nice community. And when the party is over here, well, we have the Facebook group where the party continues. Facebook group is also a fantastic place to be, where you can actually just join in and continue the party. People share what they're listening to. They share many different pictures, videos, all sorts of things. And of course, also there are questions, there are things people want to know, and I share what I'm listening to and what I'm doing and pictures and stuff. It's where that dynamic of all of us being together continues. It's a different experience. It's not live like this, but it's still pretty, I like the fact that I post something, or somebody will post something, and it doesn't take long that somebody answers, or somebody says, oh yeah, I'm listening to the same thing, or that's a good signal here, or so it's a fun place to be. It has the same name as this channel, official SWL channel. Before we start, I want to say that I ordered the Texan PL 330. Now, for those wondering where I purchased it, I bought it on eBay from a Chinese seller. It is not the official production version. It is a Chinese market version, but I thought it'd be fun to have and tune around and see what it's all about. It looks interesting. The radio is technically kind of an upgrade to people that have a PL 310, 380. It has synchronous detection. It has single sideband, and so it really looks like a nice receiver. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to tune and to try out. So of course, I'll probably be doing the same thing when I get it. I'll keep it for an unboxing live. I think people really enjoyed that, and I'm going to check it out. I could have waited until there's the production version of it, but I thought, because what happened is when I got a PL990 with your donations, some of you gave me more donations after to cover the amount that I paid from my pocket. So I thought, well, I got that money in the PayPal, so I was, like I said last time, all the money that goes into PayPal will always be going through buying new radios so that you guys could see the radios and what I think. So I had about $80 Canadian in the PayPal. The radio itself in Canadian dollars comes up to 105. So I thought, well, $25. I'll pay $25 from my pocket, and we're gonna, get that radio sooner. So it's gonna be interesting to see, what it's all about and how it works. Looks nice, and it'd be nice to also compare with the Texan PL 990X that I have, and other radios, and even with the ones that it is in competition with. They say competition with the PL380 because it has single sideband. I put it more in the competition side with because of its size, XH Data D808, because it kind of is very close in price range, and I would compare it more with that than I would compare it with a PL380, because the PL380 does not have single sideband. But it's going to be fun to check out. Let's just hope that it comes in quickly. It's funny because I never look at that, but on eBay it says shipped, estimated delivery January 11, 2021, which I looked and was like, yeah, that's the worst possible date if something bad happens. But I'm expecting it because it's a speed pack sent. So speed pack usually, every time I get speed packs from China, they usually take less than 2 weeks to arrive here. So I'm expecting, who knows, maybe by the end of next week, if we're lucky, I'm probably going to have it. But it's funny because they've really extended on eBay and everywhere. They've extended those dates to an extreme. And it's like, yeah, I know that with COVID and everything, it's complicated, but come on, January 11th, maybe I'll have it for Christmas. But anyways, I can't wait to see it, and I would guess it's going to be here in the next 2 weeks probably. So especially with a speed pack from China, it usually does. Almost every time I had speed packs, even sometimes it arrived in like a week, barely a week, and it was already here. So and there's a tracking number and everything, so it's going to be interesting to follow and see where I get it. And if I get it next summer, well, but I'm expecting it in the next probably 2 weeks. I would guess I'm going to have it here. Anyways, we'll be following the package and examining where it is. The best part is when you buy on eBay, sometimes they give you a tracking number, and the tracking number is from China Post. And one of the problems with China Post is often when it leaves the country, the tracking of China Post stops there. So it's going to tell you, well, it's there, but you have no more information. So I've noticed that over time, when it doesn't seem to change for a few days, I go to Canada Post, and I entered that tracking number in Canada Post, and they're going to tell me, oh yeah, it arrived in Vancouver or whatever. So anyways, it's going to be fun. And like I said, it's not the official version that is a production version. We still don't know yet if it's ever going to be a production version. And that's as long as it's not being sold officially, like by an Onco and so on. You don't really know if it's going to be production, if it will go to production. It's a very complicated time, and I'm pretty sure Texan probably looks at the markets and looks at it and says, well, okay, what we're going to do? Are we going to market this radio or not? They marketed the Texan PL990X, so it's kind of interesting. And today, behold, we finally have the procedure to be able to calibrate the PL990X, because I had the instructions. When you look at the instructions, it tells you how to calibrate, which didn't work. The instructions do not work at all in the calibration. So we were stuck at wondering, what do you do to calibrate the radio? And well, it's Dan Robinson that contacted Anonco, and they came back with a new procedure from Texan engineers. That said, no, if you want to calibrate the radio, here's how it's done. So when I saw his calibration, because right now the way it was calibrated, it was almost 0 beat on my side. So I thought, I'm not touching that calibration again. I'm perfect 0 beat. I don't know why. I'm going to keep it like that. And but when I saw the procedure this morning, I thought, well, okay, let's try it. So I started by trying it already with the 0 beat, and it stayed at 0 beat. So I thought, oh, okay. And then I intentionally put the radio off by like 200 hertz to try it out. And I tuned WWV, and I checked the upper lower sideband to see if it was as close as possible. Tried the procedure, worked perfectly at 0 beat. So that procedure is really, really nice. So if you ever get a 990X, the procedure is very simple. Tune in a powerful AM signal that you know that its frequency accuracy is good. Now, the best to do that is WWV, because we know of its accuracy and frequency. If you can try it with a international broadcaster, but it's not as precise. Sometimes it could be, even international broadcasters can sometimes be a little off, but it still can work, I prefer, and I always say, well, try it with WWV to make sure, to 0 beat. And once you 0 beat with the fine tuning, all you have to do is press the upper sideband button and hold it until the display light flashes twice, and you're going to be 0 beat. It's as easy as that. But man, that's not what's written in the manual as a procedure to 0 beat the 990X. It's just kind of funny. But that works. It's 0 beat. It works great, and I'm happy to have a perfect. And I was happy to share it. And I immediately did a video, and I was happy to share it with everybody, because I wanted to make sure that everybody knows, everybody that has a 990X knows about it. And actually, Thomas Witherspoon immediately shared my video and posted the information on his Shortwave Listening Post page, because man, that was mind-boggling for pretty much everybody that had one. They were like, "Wow, how does that work? It doesn't work like it says in the manual." And I mean, it's you could calibrate it, so it means I got quite a few questions, a few people saying, "Well, how come a radio of that price isn't calibrated?" I don't know of any portables below $300-400 that's calibrated. And what I mean by calibration is a lot of radios have a BFO, or like to get to 0 beat. And if you look at the BFO for most radios, it's close, but it's never perfect, including the radios that have a little dent, like the PL680 has a little dent to tell you that you're zero, that should be 0 beat. It's never exactly that. On the 680, that 0 beat is a little higher than the dent. So it tells you that most portable receivers are close. I mean, 80 hertz is not a lot. If it wasn't that you see the frequency display and you'd be tuned just using the fine tuning, you would not know that you're off by 80 hertz. It's because you know on this radio because of its frequency precision. But no portables have frequency precision like the Texan PL990X. The PL880 has it, and there's very little portable receivers of this price range that are precise as much on the frequency display. And of course, the more you're precise, the more you'll notice if it's off. You know, the great example, that ICOM ICR30 once again. ICOM ICR30 is a much more expensive radio than the Texan. It is off. When you listen to single sideband, it's off. It's off by about 100-ish hertz on mine, and the R20 was off by about 160, 170 hertz. So imagine these radios are 3 times, 4 times the price of the Texan, and they are off too. The only real radios that are precise in frequency are the tabletops. You know, when you tune the ICOM ICR 8500, that's perfect. Even the SDR Play RSPDX SDR is 0 beats. It's precise. But even then, they give you a calibration procedure. And SDR Uno, you might need to calibrate your SDR Play device. And I've seen some viewers come back to me and say, "Hey, I got the RSPDX and it's off by 300 hertz. I don't get it." And they need to do the calibration procedure in SDR Uno to get 0 beats. You know, it's not important that it is 80 hertz off when you can fix it. That is what's cool, because you can fix it at 0 beat. If you buy a radio that cannot be calibrated and always stays off, that is more of a concern or a problem. But, you know, consider that you're paying, you might, you know, for a lot of people, because one of the comments comes through is, well, $235 is a lot of money. It is, yes, a lot of money, but honestly, for $200, demanding that the precision is 0 beat is demanding a lot. You're not in the high-end tabletop models here. You're in a $200 portable. So it's important to know that that category, it's good. It's not a tabletop. It's not a high-end radio. It's a high-end portable in its category. But all radios, all portables are off by a little something. You don't know how much it is, because most radios, like I said, have the BFO, which is that little, button that you tune that you get 0 beat on. You don't know what frequency you're exactly. The display stops at 1 kilohertz precision, but that BFO actually goes and get the 0 beat at some point somewhere. And that's where it shows that it's off. The CNG and ATS 909X, for example, that I have, both of them are off. They're off by, I'd say the 909X that I got is off by at least 100 some hertz, because you don't see the last digits. But when you tune and it falls on the kilohertz, I'm still not 0 beat. It tells you that, okay, it's not there. It's very close to getting to the next level digit. So don't ask for a radio that's 0 beat precise for $100 or $200. And it doesn't matter, honestly, because as long as the frequency, when you're in the 1 kilohertz resolution, it doesn't show. You're still precise on frequency. If you're listening to 14201, a ham radio operator, you're on 14201. You just zero beat with the BFO. But in reality, you may be off by 100, 200 hertz. You just don't know. It depends on how far you went with the BFO. But the frequency itself is displayed correctly. That is the correction you're applying. Like I said, the only reason here you see it is because it doesn't stop at 1 kilohertz resolution. This radio stops at 10 hertz resolution, which is very precise for a portable of that price. So that's very important to understand. Bobby Burgess, W85107SWL in Louisiana, USA. Keisha Escape, nice to have you on board. What else do we have? What year, 2021, you're saying? Where? What clock are you talking about for 2021? I don't know. What else do we have? Tom the Xer, nice to have you here. WPE2QED in Lower Hudson Valley, New York. Rob in Phoenix, Arizona. Wow, that's hot, 103 Fahrenheit. Here we're at 11 Celsius, 50s. And tomorrow night we are going to have a, probably our first frost. It's supposed to be 0 Celsius, 32 Fahrenheit. Not tonight, but tomorrow night. Old Radio Man, nice to have you here, my friend. Yeah, no more passes of International Space Station here in Montreal. You guys might have some more in other parts of North America, but there's no more passes here in Montreal. So I checked before the show just in case. Prasad, nice to have you here from India. Always nice to have you on board, my friend. What else do we have? Bill, nice to have you on board. And I'm not going to go there to the China or anything, because I'm not there in enemies or anything. Business is business and radios is radios. And there will never be a portable radio made in the USA, in Canada, or in Europe ever with the way things work. You got to accept that, and that's the way it is. So, A Texan PL990 made in the USA would have cost $800. And that, for sure, I would never have purchased. And I'm not there in that mind-boggling thing of China is an enemy or whatever. That depends on everybody around the world, and we're not there, and we're not going to talk about that here anyways. I don't even want to have any comments about that or China or something. We buy radios, we buy them wherever they are or they are built, and that's the thing that is. Okay, what else do we have? Shady Pyro 90, nice to have you here. K7AZR from Arizona, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Max Edstrong, nice to have you here from Michigan, USA. Piet Mondrian student, nice to have you on board. And yeah, the schedules of shortwave stations is EIBI Space is the one I use. EIBI space.de, and here is the link. That is where you have the you have two lists there. You have the by time list of all the stations around the world, including a lot of utilities and unusual signals. And you have by frequency if you want to search the frequency if you're listening to something to see what's on the air. Brett Wayne, KC2NXP. And don't forget that on the, check my tablet here, on Android, if you have an Android phone or a tablet, one of the things that is that is nice is the, let me just check the app. So the app is called Skywave Schedules. Skywave Schedules is very nice. It is the app for shortwave schedules. You can search by frequency. You can check out what's on the air at a certain time. You have maps of all the, where the stations come from and so on. It's really, really, really cool, and it's really, really nice app. So if you're listening to something, you can input the frequencies. Say, for example, right now I could test 7780. 7780. Go to on the air now. Search. It's going to tell me what's on the air. So here it tells me now that Radio Slovakia is on the air via WRMI. You can click on it, have information on it, but you can also, and that's really, really nice, you can also check the transmitter site with the icon, and the transmitter site will show up in a map on the application, and it's even going to give you the general transmission target area. So here, for some reason, it's not working very well. This tablet is very slow, so sometimes some of the stuff that takes a long time. I'll do it on my phone, which should work a lot better. So Skywave Schedule is also very nice for schedules. So let me just check it out here. Frequency 7780. Search transmitter site. So yeah, okay. Click the station, transmitter site. Here we go. So it gives you the transmitter site. It says Okeechobee, Florida. In this case, it doesn't show the pattern of where it's broadcasting to, but you often have that. So it's really, really nice little app. And remember to update the app schedules regularly, because they use the online schedules for EIVI space and so on. So when there's so here it is, better. I think it's going to be better now. So if you use the app regularly, you'll need to update the map, the data of the schedules regularly in the app to make sure that they're up to date for the schedules. But EIVI Space Online is very, very nice and extremely accurate. So it's updated very regularly. Brett Wayne, KC2NXP. What else do we have? Ziki Zadok 6922. It's still there. Not hearing much. What's here? Wow. You guys hearing the oh, okay, that's one. Okay, I'm in Sam the AM. Look at that. 6824. Man, this is the second time I'm hearing it. They're kind of reactivated it. 6824 upper sideband, or 6825 CW. That is supposed to be Morse code training from the French Navy. And I'm hearing the Morse code right now. 45 unit. Nice to have you here. How's the battery life on the Texan PL990? Can't wait to see the 330. It is good. I mean, it uses the 18650 battery that I'm using, the one from Texan. To give you an idea, yesterday I used it from about 9 a.m. It stayed on until about 1 a.m. So from 9 in the morning until 1 in the morning before I go to bed. So that's 16 hours. The battery indicator was at 0, but the radio was still going on strong. In there, I used it maybe 4 or 5 hours with the light on continuously. So you know what? You will get at least a good 15 hours of battery life per battery. It has 2 batteries that come with it. So it's not bad, because considering that it's a hefty radio that has strong audio and everything, and you can leave the light on all the time. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. What else do we have? David KJ4CMY. Nice to have you here. What else do we have? What else do we have? Joe Rodman, nice to have you here from Chicago. Mark Cancellara, nice to have you here from England. So, Dr. Sissa from the Cayman Islands, nice to have you on board. Ronald Daub, nice to have you on board. Crystal 40-meter shortwave. So, yep, I'm probably on the camera and microphone tonight. So if you guys hear me differently, that's what's happening tonight. Joe in Newmarket, Virginia, nice to have you here. Clint, nice to have you on board. BT Radio, nice to have you on board from Essex Junction, Vermont. Shelly, nice to have you on board, my friend. Eyebrower from Arkansas, nice to have you here. Dr. Sis, I've heard Ontario and Quebec will not change clocks in spring. You will be on standard time. I haven't heard anything about that here. I know we're going to change our time, but I haven't heard anything about that here. Erica Trell, WB1HBU, nice to have you here from Boston, Massachusetts. What else do we have? So no more passes here for the International Space Station. Keisha Escape, if you're receiving this transmission, you are the capacitance. You're listening to the X-Wars and your host, Shell Jones. Hey, Tristan, nice to have you here. Eric says, for some reason, I cannot get into Halloween this year. Well, you know, I'm going to put myself in Halloween mode. I started taking the decorations out because I thought it'd be maybe a good idea if I put up the decorations, it's going to feel like Halloween a little bit. Brett Wayne, battery life on the 880 is 22 hours at half volume. 990 should be the same. Yeah, it depends if you leave the light on or not. That's for sure. I wouldn't be surprised it could go as far as that if you use the light at the minimum. Paul, nice to have you here from Vancouver, British Columbia. Rick, nice to have you on board. Happy Oktoberfest. So what else do we have? Let me just go back here. I've got something that I lost my spot. Nick, nice to have you here. HF Global Command 2047, 24 kilohertz. What else do we have? Okay. I should. Let me just check it out here because I lost my spot. I hate it. Sometimes it happens that I lose my spot in the chat. And when that happens, I can't find my spot again. Brian Penny, nice to have you here. Moria 330. Yeah, well, most radios, single sideband works on AM band also, for the most part. PT Radio, Paul AA1SU. Nice to have you here. And he's been comparing his realistic DX 160 and his K2 KA1103. So, how do you like? What are the conclusions? Joseph Ickenbaum, nice to have you on board. John McClure, nice to have you here. Eric Cottrell has a t-shirt in a different color. Yeah, it's a nice shirt, CKUT shirt. So, Keisha Escape, the email is officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com. Officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com. Shelly says she's never seen anybody mean in the Facebook group. No, great people. We got great people here. So, nope, Anonco doesn't have anything that's not official production run yet. So I bought it from a Chinese seller. There were tons of Chinese sellers all selling it for $79 US, including shipping. So I thought, that price, let's go for it. Anyways, it comes to about $25. So KW1161 from Tucson, Arizona. Nice to have you here. So Nick is K9XN from Northwest Indiana. What else do we have? Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be interesting to see. If the PL330 has better synchronous detection, I can tell you one thing. It's going to be kind of surprising. So John McClure heard the ISS last night, 8:25 Central Time. So I heard it a few times, but not every pass seemed to have slow scan TV when I was checking it out. Page Master, nice to have you here, KC5BOY. What else do we have? William Helms in Florida, nice to have you here. Catalan, nice to have you here from Germany. Can't sleep. I have the BNC connector on the MLA30 and connected the RSP1A directly without the original bias T. Works great. Oh yeah, absolutely. Vector says I'll get the H501 450 US. No, I'm not going to buy that. That's for sure. Not at that price. Not at that price. Rufus, nice to have you here from cold and miserable Laurentian Valley, Ontario. What else do we have? Page Master, I'm halfway through States for All States Award from Parks on the Air. Cool. It's fun to chase these awards. Gives a sense of pride also, when you go through it and you finally get that award when you've done all of it. All the work, went through, and it's kind of cool. Stephen Wood, 6922 signal is up, and good level down in the noise. Thunderstorm just passed through, so it was heard pretty widely, 6922. Here's Escape. Speedback is terrible in the USA. Bypasses me all the way to East Coast. Here, usually, the speedbacks, they arrive at the West Coast, like in Vancouver. Or sometimes they arrive in Toronto and then are sent our way. They're usually pretty fast here. So, Nick, as U.S. Air Force EAM messages on 4724. Joe Tyson, nice to have you here from North Carolina, PM4WRQ. Coax loss. Yeah, well, it's simple. Coax loss, if you're using regular standard RG, RG58, 59, on below 30 megahertz on shortwave and long wave and medium wave, coax loss is not really an issue, even on a long length of coax. Where it might be important is the quality of the coax, because there's different prices for the same coax, and some have a much better shield around them. That will lower the noise. But below 30 megahertz, the coax, apart from the quality of it for the shield, isn't that much of a problem, because there's almost no loss below 30 megahertz. It's really when you get into VHF, UHF, and very high UHF frequencies that coax starts to get real important. Yeah, William, nice picture of Paul the cat and Brian Penny. Paul is sleeping in his kitty bed. So he's in the other room. He's in the living room right now in his kitty bed, actually. Keegan, nice to have you here. XNADXer from Northwest Arkansas, 79 Fahrenheit and clear. Cool. What else do we have? Mike WDX50, nice to have you here from Northwest Arkansas. MDK2 Met in Colorado. Heard Zeke say he's transmitting on 250 milliwatts. I have my doubts that he's that QRP. Yeah, we heard the same thing last time. Somebody had mentioned the same thing last time. I think it's more like 250 watts than 250 milliwatts. I don't think it would make it so well around everywhere at just that little power. We wouldn't be hearing it. So I do love my Texan PL990 Max Headstrong. I love my PL990X. Very happy with it. Randy, nice to have you here in Riverside, California. Oh, I already have that, Catalan. You never seen the shelf that's on that side. It's I got all my radios on it, and plus more everywhere else. But I do already have a shelf here with tons of my radios on it, actually. What else do we have? What else do we have? Yeah, you know, Escape, a lot of broadcasters are very accurate. So you could probably use a lot of you could probably use a lot of those, you know, medium wave or even a lot of shortwave broadcasters to calibrate a radio for sure. A lot of them are extremely precise in frequency, so you could technically tune with that. So well, there's no separate offset Moria 330 because once you have the offset, its precision makes it pretty much the same one side or the other. There's no need to have separate offsets. So but the best calibration is you put it on like WWV, and then you tune up and down the upper and lower sideband to see how the sound is. Especially with the tone, it's easy. And once it sounds pretty much clear, the same beat as it is in AM mode, that's when you calibrate it. PageMaster, beat frequency oscillator puts carrier back on the frequency so you can hear either lower or upper sideband being transmitted. So, yep. It doesn't. You don't, because it just gives you a tone to adjust the carrier to adjust to the voice, But when you use a radio that is, like the Texan PL 680, the BFO has a notch. That notch means that the knob is at the center. You would expect that center to be close to reality of what is zero beat, but it's off by a little bit. That's where you see that every portable radio is off probably by a certain amount of hertz. But when your calibration is at 1 kilohertz, you don't know. As long as the frequency displayed seems good, that's all that That's all that you need. What else do we have? What else do we have? Like my 8500, my ICOM ICR 8500 is off by, I would say it's probably off by a few hertz. It does have a different tone on WWV on up, lower, sideband, but it's a very small difference that doesn't make much of a problem when you listen to voice on single sideband. So, and there's always, like Nick says, there's always, you got to remember that there's a tolerance. Every manufacturer gives a percentage of tolerance within where a radio needs to be, whatever price you pay. Usually the higher the price, the more quality control over the components and everything makes it more precise. But, I remember the Kenwood R5000 when I had that radio. With over time, you had to recalibrate from time to time. Once a year, I opened the cover and would calibrate it with WWV again. So Catalan, does the ICOM ICR30 have a PC graphic user interface? Can it be used with SDR console? Nope. It is not an SDR radio. It's not meant to be used in that way. The only thing that you can do with it is control its frequency. For example, for satellite, you could use the interface to control its frequency, follow the Doppler shift, something like that. But it's not made to be used with SDR software. It's not made for that. John Wayne, nice to have you on board. Joe Rodman, Drake TR7 drifts for the first hour and then rock stable. Yeah, a lot of older radios, that's what they did. I remember one that wasn't too bad was my Realistic DX302. It would drift maybe, close to a kilohertz in the first hour of use, but then it would be stable enough that you would tune. I remember tuning single sideband AMs and not having to readjust for quite a while. The temperature of the components often changes the calibration, that's for sure. Pamela Militia Caddy, nice to have you here. But it's always a little. Most regular, couple of hundred portables will all be off a little bit, but it really that's where you got to understand it, because a lot of people don't understand the fact that but you don't have a portable because people looked at the display and said, well, it's 80 hertz off. Yeah, it because it has that precision in its display. But I bet you that every portable you own is all, is 100, 200 hertz off, probably. It's just that because it's only precise to the kilohertz, you don't know. So, SS flies by for last time tonight at 119. Yeah, here I looked. So it's probably too low or not, because it moves off to the west as it's going, so that trace isn't passing over Montreal for tonight. Michael Setterfield, nice to have you on board from South Carolina, K4AFT. Nick says, HF Global Command quite active tonight on 4724. Mr. First is busy sending out those EAMs to B-52s. Rob says, indeed, I hope it starts to cool off in Arizona. Yeah, 103, that's way too hot. What else do we have? Let's go down. What else do we go? Kimberly, K6YYL, nice to have you on board. Mike says wrong, buys only Hungarian radios. When you want radios from Czechoslovakia. Oh man, these old. Every country used to make radios at some point. And look at the tube radios here that I have, and all of them are made in Canada. Pretty crazy. thinking that at some point we were making radios and TVs and stuff. Pretty crazy. Richard Raposo. Nice to have you here, Richard. Rich Hill. Nice to have you all on board from Syracuse, New York. So lots of power outages. Oh, really? Stay safe, my friend. Stay safe. Yes, the October issue of the Spectrum Monitor. I looked at the cover. I haven't even looked at it yet. I need to check that out after the show tonight. I think that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. Richard from Brazil. Nice to have you on board. Good night, my friend. Pamela, UVB76 is a tough one. You need to have low noise, and you need to have preferably single sideband to be able to tune it in upper sideband, preferably. You can still hear the tone when you're in AM mode, but it's easier in the... Let's try it out. I haven't tried it in a while here. 4625. Nope. Nothing. Nothing here. That's interesting. Oh, it's a reverse. So this is a spurious signal. Oh. Just checking out what is here. Is the Columbia station there? 4940? Oh yeah, it is. It's very weak here. Anybody hearing 4940 kilohertz? That station that we think might be coming from Columbia, but that no one really has an official ID or an official any official information about. You're still kind of wondering where it is coming from. Some think it is from Columbia, some others don't. Rich, Skywave Schedules allows easy logbook entry. Yep, there's a logbook, absolutely. Absolutely. General Patzer, nice to have you here, listening to Romania on 6040. Let's check it out. Yep, it's going to start in French now in a few minutes. Pretty good. Good interval signal here, coming in well. I think at 01 is Argentina, 93.95. 93.95, WRMI coming in really, really well, 93.95. So Moray 230, I found that Skywave schedule has issues showing some specific things. You have to update it, Moria, every week or 2 weeks. That's because you haven't updated the app schedules, because they use the IBI space as one of their schedules for the list of stations. And since that is showing up MyDKBC correctly, it's because your app has not updated the schedules. You need to do it manually. They don't update automatically. So if you are using the Skywave schedules, make sure that you update the schedules regularly. That's the only way it's going to work. When you're on the Skywave schedule app, what you do is you go into the settings on the upper right corner. In there, you have update schedules at the top. That will download the latest schedules, and you say, yes, update now. It's very important, or else you'll have tons of stations not showing up. The app is very precise because of the list it's used. It's really because your schedules were not updated. Remember, the updates on the IBI space are updated every week, 2 weeks sometimes. Rye, Argentina, starting on 9395 WRMI.
Rye, Argentina to the world. Rye, 世界に向けてアルゼンチン。Hi, Argentina mundo. Rye, Argentina al mundo. Hi, Argentinian in US.
They have by the way, the programs is only once a week updated because they have because of COVID. So it's only once a week. Shady Pyro 90, am on the east coast of Vancouver Island. Should be able to get V24 from South Korea in the wintertime. Yeah, that's a possibility, absolutely. What else do we have? Well, General Pastor, you need a computer or a phone to get their schedules. That's why we talk about apps, because that helps you get the shortwave schedules. Steve in Australia, nice to have you on board. 5085 WTWW S8 in Cayman. Cool. Steve King did the calibrate frequency on my Texan PL990. All worked very good. Man, thanks. How to do it. Yeah, it works great like that. Clark Chilson, now hearing 68242 using the amazing NL830 Plus. Cool. So it is an amazing antenna for its price. Hope DPL330 is better than the XH data. You know, that's kind of tough because honestly, when you get to the level of reception of an XH data D808, apart from the muting on AM mode, honestly, it's no radio is going to be better than that. Even, you know, I was not expecting the Texan PL990X to receive more signal than an XH data, because I already know that an XH data D808 is to the max of its best as a sensitivity for a shortwave radio. You know, it works great. And it even beats a little bit the C Crane, CC Skywave SSB, and some of my tests. But if you take it overall, they're all receiving pretty much at the same level. The only advantage of a radio is in other areas. In the case of the 990X, its advantage is really its beautiful sound. It makes it much easier to listen to the same signal because the audio quality is better. But it doesn't receive the signal stronger, or because these radios are already pretty much pushed to the limit of the technology that they use. Joe Cool just picked up a Texan R9700 DX. Love the radio. Yeah, a lot of people seem to love that analog receiver. Raymond Jones, nice to have you here from Melbourne, Australia. Cheers. Alexander Taylor, I'm in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. What else do we have? Thomas Olson, nice to have you on board. Nathan Petrovsky, have you heard there might be a new version of the Sangean ATS 909X coming next year? Apparently it's already in development. Yeah, I was reading the post on the shortwave listening post, and the guy seems to have had access to some documentation. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see that if it's the case that Sangean decided to actually invest in there, they must be I don't know, they must be thinking it's could be interesting. But you know, it is interesting because let's hope that, because one of the things that I found sad on the 909X, the radio is beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful receivers I own. Its look is amazing. It is a great radio, but I was so surprised that by modifying it, adding it DSP based, they still didn't fix the slight deafness that it has on telescopic antenna. That was kind of a surprising move. They could have fixed that. If you're about to do a new version of a radio, fix the bugs and the things that are not right with it. That was kind of weird. So anyways, we're going to see. It's going to be interesting to see. But, it's going to be interesting to see. Justin, do you think we will see another mid to high range portable radio that runs on regular batteries again? I think we're moving on in different things. And the fact that the radios, the way they are built, look at the PL330. I'm not very happy in the fact that it runs on a BL5C lithium-ion battery. Actually, I'm a little scared that it runs on that because I'm a little scared of the battery life it's going to give. Depends on how it works and how much power it consumes. But, I think they move on to that because these radios are so thin now that the only other batteries they could use if they had to use some would be AAA batteries. And because AAA batteries don't have the same amount of power in them than the AA's, the only other option they have is to use lithium-ion batteries because that punches a lot more power for the size. So it's not that impossible that in the future some will be made still with AA batteries in mind, but I think it depends on the manufacturer. I think a manufacturer that does it for consumers in general, let's face it, Texan is kind of a hobbyist. Almost a shortwave hobbyist company because, yes, they do sell radios for the mass market as much as possible, but it's obvious by looking at a Texan PL990X that they're also trying to get the enthusiasts that we are on radio and shortwave radio to buy stuff. And they know that most hobbyists will maybe not mind that much that they use different types of batteries. But I think it has to do a lot more with the size of the radio and the, how thick they are and the amount of power needed to have them working for a certain time. The size of the 990X, obviously they could have put, 3 or 4 AA's in there. But the 18650 battery they put in it is 26 or 2800 milliamp hour, which is more power than AA's actually give out. So they're probably thinking, I don't know, it sits away, and the voltage is kind of interesting. The radios work at 3.7 volts. I think there will be radios with AA's that are going to be made in the future, but I think there is a definite trend here that a lot of them might use the lithium-ion batteries depending on the size they are. So, James Johnson, been here for a while but had keyboard issues. I'm glad they're fixed. Nice to have you on board from Florida. Let's go down. Matt, it was interesting to see your video that 990X isn't really an upgrade to the 880. I suppose if the sync worked, then it would be. If the synchronous detection would be perfect, it would be an upgrade to 880 on that side. but I've seen a lot. I've read a lot on boat radios, people that own boat, including seeing a couple of videos. What I also see is that the 880 does seem to have better audio. And one of the Radio J. Allen that I respect and love is full reviews of everything, every radio that he tries out. Does say that the 990X has beautiful audio, but it isn't up to par to the 880. So, that is a downgrade possibly. But yet, for what I use here, the 990X is one of the most beautiful audio of every radio I got here, that's for sure. Pamela, what is a Volmet? It's a weather station on shortwave. So you have, it's a weather station for aeronautical purposes. An example that I can put here, 5505 upper sideband. This is Shannon in Ireland. It's the aeronautical weather station, and that's what we call a Volmet.
wind 200 degrees, 12 knots. Tempo from 0 to 00 until 0400. Clouds, ceiling written at 1,200 feet.
RJDA Dakota, nice to have you here. WA0113SWL. Matt had some decent DX today. Weather facts from Charleville in Australia. Wow, that's cool. Never heard that one. Weak but distinct audio from VFF Iqaluit power station. Good day listening. Yeah, it wasn't too bad last night when I did my video on the PL990. Receiving it on 6507 really was nice. So, oh really? In the U.S., SpeedPack need a shipping partner that. Oh really? That's what we were talking about when the other guy got mad the other day when we were talking about FedEx. Look at your example. Your example is perfect for that. How SpeedPack, when it gets into USA, is the shipping partner doesn't, it kind of sucks. Well, the same thing applies when we have FedEx here in Canada with packages from overseas. My 990X was great. It did cost $40 US for shipping, though. You got to take that into account. Because a lot of stuff I got from FedEx from the U.S. either never arrived or arrived broken. It was crap. I don't want. When I see FedEx, I was like, oh no, please, not that. That's the perfect example. I think it depends on the market and from where and within where the companies ship. It's like UPS. Anybody here in Canada is going to tell you, we do not want UPS sending us a package from the U.S. ever. Because we know it's going to cost us a big amount of money to get it. Plus, it's always super late. It's always it's crappy. We don't want that. So I think it really, it depends on the markets and everything. It's crazy. It's shipping is a complex thing. Ekadarius, nice to have you here. Yarobamba, nice to have you here. 11800, Radio Havana, Cuba. Yep. So Pamela, there are some military Volmets. For example, for 5450 here. Here, this one is Royal Air Force one in the UK. 5450 upper siding. That is also a Volmet, but that one is military. 6754. I don't think I'm going to hear it. Let's try it. Yeah. This is the time of the year I don't hear it anymore. Probably skips over me, but 6754 should have right now Trenton Military, Ontario, Canada. That is also a Volmet, but it's military. The difference is that the military ones give the weather of the aeronautical military airports, where the regular Volmet, aeronautical Volmet, like Shannon that I had, will give the weather conditions of different civilian airports around the country, for example, like Gander Radio in Newfoundland, Canada. What else do we have? So as you see, a lot of people already, that's the greatness of all of these people here. Everybody's happy to explain stuff everywhere and to everybody. Joe, when scanning in VF mode, does the 990 scan within the shortwave bands or all frequencies? My 660 does all, 880 does the shortwave bands only. So if I use the ATS scan, it scans the international broadcast bands, not the full spectrum. And I do not want the full spectrum. I want the international broadcast bands only when it does it, because the full spectrum is big and it doesn't necessarily have maybe if you want to have a scan of everything that it can actually get. But one thing that I didn't try, let's try it now. Boy, I've got it here. Let's try it now. I'm going to take this wire for the W6 LVP loop, plug it in. I'm going to try something I haven't tried though. I will put it in sideband. Okay. What does it do if I do this? Oh, this is nice. So in single sideband, it scans. In single sideband, it scans the amateur radio bands. Unfortunately, what is sad is it doesn't change the mode. It would be nice if it changed like lower sideband for the below 10 megahertz and upper sideband above. But although here it scans 12 megahertz. This is so weird. This is weird. Well, it doesn't. It scans a mix. So here it's on the 20 meter band. It's jumping to the 17 meter band, 15 meter band, but it was in the 12 megahertz and 13 megahertz, like it was tuning also the utility bands. That's interesting. And now it's in the 10 meter band. That's a weird scan, actually. What else do we have? Matt says, here Trenton military now, but lately it's been off frequency. I have it at 6954.8. Oh, really? Wow. Okay. Maybe they're having some problems. Roberto Rojas, nice to have you here, my friend. Erica Chow, I put up another handrail on the adjacent wall and put up some more shelves. They're working out great for radio and equipment storage. And maybe I'll need to check that out. I was thinking of putting shelves here, actually, when I reassigned the room. Kishescape, Joe, can you tell the story of why he was only known as DX the Cat before and the transition to being called Paul, and how you got run over? So, okay. Actually, let me check it out here. See what it received in. Okay, it stopped on a couple of signals, one on the 80 meter band, one on the 40 meters. Huh, interesting. So, actually, what happens is that Paul the Cat, his name was Paul from the beginning, since he was my neighbor's cat. And she had named him Paul the Cat. So his real name was Paul. But what happened is the day that I was, the first day ever that he came over here and showed up, I was on the IRC shortwave chat. And I made a video. I think it was I made a video of something I was receiving, and I showed the cat that was on the balcony at the same time. I was like, well, this cat that I don't know where it comes from is here now. And immediately in the chat room, and a lot of people said, oh, it's DX the cat. Call him DX the cat. So DX the cat name comes from that, since it was a bunch of radio guys. So, but afterwards, when we began to, like being pretty much my own cat, he became, I told the story to everybody that his real name was Paul, like Paul McCartney, Paul the cat. And everybody found it like, oh, okay, that's his like a real name. So for some people, he shares the DX cat, but his name is officially Paul. So, what else do we have? Larry, nice to have you here. K9AAU, best place to find shortwave listening frequencies in my area. I know ham bands, but lost on the other. Well, go to, the best is go to eibispace.de that I gave earlier. It is all the schedules of shortwave station. And look at what there's in broadcasts, especially the ones to North America mostly. And get acquainted with the different schedules and stations there. Welcome aboard, Larry. Yogi, nice to have you on board. Earlier, there was Morse code on 6824 upper sideband, sorry, which was probably the French Navy. Joey, nice to have you on board from Long Beach, California. Oh, the Dawn, is there no caffeine soda shortage? Oh, no, there's no shortage of caffeine soda, I can tell you that. But there's a lot of shortage in everything else. So, with the CW or Morse code was from the French Navy. Eric Cottrell, RCA Factory in Montreal. Absolutely, that became, which is a museum, a radio museum right now. The Émile Berliner Radio Museum that I need to go. We want to try to go there at some point with Sheldon and check it out. I've never been. I want to be there. Apparently, it's really nice. Dan, nice to have you on board from Ohio. What else do we have? Matt has a carrier on 4940 with no audio. RGD Dakota thinks some Admiral radios remain in Chicago or Indiana. Don't remember which. Yeah, there's a lot of everybody just has a every country had radio manufacturing at some place with some places. Raymond Pike, nice to have you here from New York. Page Master, Shine and Vaughn at 5505 in Moore, Oklahoma. Weak but readable. Cool. Gregory Daniels, nice to have you on board, Greg. KA3CMA. We have Mitrin Pekovsky says, Skyway schedule doesn't work with talkback on my phone, so I can't use it, sadly. Oh, sad. K7AZR, Arizona is hearing radio in New Zealand, 13840. That one is pretty much over here. I had a great summer of listening to it, though. Yep, it's pretty much nothing here. I listened to it throughout June and July, and a part of August. It was coming in really well at the evening. It's what I call my summer listening, Radio New Zealand in the evening. Take care, Catalin. Have a good night. Catalan, seems like shortwave will survive. New radios coming out. That is great. Keishaescape actually decided to get a ATS 909X instead of the 990X just the other day because it handled super long wires really nice. Also, to save my Sony 7600 JR from wear because it's extinct now. So, you know, you'll get a nice radio. The 909X is a great radio. And you're going to be happy. Pagemaster 8502 Weatherfax and MG from New Orleans coming in. Well, the whip is deaf at some point. It is really, really not. When you compare Keishaescope to regular portable, any other portable, it's deaf. It's deaf. It's deaf, but it receives. It's not. You don't get any signal. But the signal is going to be half the strength of a regular receiver. It still receives, but you see that it's weaker. And that is, but on the long wire or on the long wire, it works great. Dave Arlo, 5505 USB coming in Ireland. My setup may not be good. 30 kilometers from Shannon Airport. Yeah, you're really close. You're getting the ground wave probably. That's for sure. Kamaxi 76, nice to have you on board. And got some kidney stones. Oh, those hurt. Hope you are getting better. Briar Smoke KW6JFD, nice to have you on board. Work sucks, yeah, but we have to. Unfortunately, we can't all be millionaires. Apparently. Garden Lionel, nice to have you on board from Southern Illinois. Keishaescape says, oh man, that FedEx guy was wild. Never saw you get that mad before. Keishaescape says, but for $40 expedited shipping, I can understand. Prakash from Central New Jersey. Lucky to be first time seeing your live show, inspired by your YouTube videos from 2015's. Help me get back into shortwave. Cool. Happy to have you on board, my friend. Like Matt says, don't understand people who feel the need to defend some big businesses. Yeah, you know. Noodle ham operator is hearing 6754 in Georgia. Faint, but it's there. Yeah, I have it more in the summertime. 6754 is my summer listening also. But in the wintertime, I very rarely hear 6754. It probably does skip over me, I would guess. Shelly, what is your YouTube channel about old computers? My son is refurbishing some old gaming systems and computers and wants to see what videos you might have. Oh my God, it's called Old Computer Museum. Old Computer Museum. It's only... it's really old stuff, you know, Commodore 128, Commodore 64 games, Amiga 500, Atari 1040 ST stuff. But I haven't posted a video there in years. Maybe I should have posted more. There's a lot of videos. You know what? I was searching because I have a cartridge on my Commodore and I'm playing games. And I was searching for a specific game, and I actually accidentally came across one of my own videos and noticed that it had something like 50,000 views. And I was like, maybe I should have continued making some old computer museum videos. Oh man, the old computer museum, those were something. With my nephew playing games when we were half drunk. That was something. There was like only 5 people watching the live show, but boy, we had a blast. We were getting drunk and playing all of those games on the old computers. Oh God. Oh God. Crazy. Matt is getting the International Space Station right now. Chuck CP Davis. Yeah, 13560 is a scientific frequency, scientific instrumentation. So you are hearing a lot of stuff from businesses or laboratories and things around you. Here, if I tune 13560, I hear a host of different signals together. Like right now, I hear these there's weird tones and stuff, and there's packets and whistles and all sorts of weird things. So that really is really all sorts of telemetry instruments and signals from there. Try to get it here, go down. I'm catching up with you guys slowly. Yeah, well, we can arrange that. Any live show, we could arrange some kind of SSTV or something and try to see what we can get here. Newell Ham Operator, 73 from Georgia, KO4DFJ. Yeah, I always enjoy Radio New Zealand. It's my really cool listening of the summertime. I can tell you that. What else do we have? He's doing Atari and other old ones. Okay. But I don't have much on the computers themselves. He's looking more like on the computers themselves and maybe the internals and stuff like that. It's not really where I was going. I was more like I got a few videos showing them, but most of it was games that I would download and play on them. But if he wants to check it out, it's what else do we have? Good night, Tristan. It's nice to have you on board. Nathan Petrovsky, what would be the best tuning step to use on the ICOM SCR30 for listening to satellites? It depends what satellite you're listening to. If you're listening to the satellites that are in single sideband, I would recommend that you use 100 hertz step, because you'll be able to get somewhat clearly the voice in upper sideband. If you're listening to something like the International Space Station for the slow scan TV, because that's in FM mode, for that I would use 1 kilohertz, precise enough to be close to the frequency with the Doppler shift. So it really depends on what you're going to listen to. So any single sideband amateur satellite, choose a small step like 100 hertz, and regular ones 1 kilohertz is enough in FM mode. Noodle Ham Operator, best frequency reference book. It's on the internet, and the best reference is really the internet. There's no reference book with frequencies that you can purchase that will give you anything really useful. EIBISpace.de that I just gave is a great website for getting the different the frequencies that you're listening to. So as for frequency database, it's really frequency database. It's really the internet is king. Joe, there's another scan the 990 should do while in VF mode. Hold the VM key down to the scan, stopping for 5 seconds. Oh yeah, well okay, that scan it does absolutely. Scanning and it stops on a signal for a number of seconds, absolutely. But I never use these types of scans because for me I rather tune manually, especially in shortwave, because the signals go up and down. So it often will, if the signal's on a fading phase at the time that it's going over it, it's not going to stop. So in every radio that I have that has that type of scan, I never use. I find it rather useless as a scanning mode. ATS scan is kind of nice because it goes through all of it and gives you the memory list of all the frequencies it found something. But for that type of scan, I rather, like you're mentioning, I rather scan manually with the tuning knob and listen in manually. K3DY, nice to have you on board, my friend, from Cincinnati, Ohio. Keisha Escape, yeah, but World Radio TV Handbook is not a frequency reference book. It's a reference book, general reference book for stations and a lot of the details of the stations, like emails of contacts and power used and location and all sorts of. Really, it's a very detailed database of each station, but it's not a reference book for frequency. The World Radio TV Handbook is not good for that type of usage. It's really, the internet is king for whatever frequency database you want. Prasad says, never been able to get a decent signal from Radio New Zealand. Perhaps it requires a better antenna. It has to do with their target area. Because what's happening is you're not their target area. They're not broadcasting towards the Indian Ocean. They're not broadcasting to really Asia in general. Most of Radio New Zealand's broadcasts are targeted for the Pacific audience. The reason we have a good signal here from Radio New Zealand is that because of its positioning, when it's actually broadcasting towards the Pacific, it's also broadcasting towards North America. And when they choose a correct frequency, well, we get it here. So, for example, in the summertime, 13840 comes in really well. In the morning, the lower frequencies they use often come in really well also in North America. But they are kind of sending in our general direction. Most of, or if not all of the Radio New Zealand signals are sent away from you when you look at their target audience. That's why it's difficult for you to get Radio New Zealand in India. I would say the same is here for KNLS in Alaska. I've been able to receive their interval signals, sometimes very, very weak here in Montreal. But I've never been able to get a signal that I could follow a program, for example. And it's simple. KNLS, when they broadcast from Alaska, they're sending their signal towards Asia. That's their target audience. It's away from me. So I'm not their target audience. I'm at the opposite end of the target audience. So that's the thing. K3DUI DXing. Any plans for winter DXing season? I seriously got into medium wave band DXing, installing the Delta flag antennas, as well as built a phaser. Been a life changer, awesome to NOLAD stations. My listening, I don't do I don't necessarily plan ahead or do anything special for my winter DX season listening. I will make sure, like for example, October is, let's make sure the antennas look okay and should be able to go through winter. Because even though here it's not too difficult to go and fix them up if I need to, still, when it's minus -20 degrees outside, you don't want to go out at minus 20, start fixing an antenna. It's kind of not fun. So I will mostly look at my antennas, make sure that they are and look okay for their winter session. And then what I'll do is, of course, I will, take some time to DX, or of course medium wave is, fantastic in the winter time. So I will often check out what's in the low frequencies that could be interesting. But I also like I would say what I really do most is I wait for I will wait for the new schedule season to start. So this is the last month we are in the summer schedules. At the end, the last Sunday of this month, we will be starting the B20 season. And that will be the winter schedules. And that's where it gets interesting for me. I wait for the B20 or for the winter schedules to show up. And what I do is I plan on what stations I will be listening to. So an example, each schedule season always gives me unusual things that I didn't know I would get to listen to. The surprise that I had this summer was Voice of the Islamic Republic of Iran. I was able to hear them quite well in French throughout the summer. And I mean, I had not heard Iran on shortwave good enough for a listening experience in a long time. So that was my surprise for this summer. Radio New Zealand was coming in. I would say it was probably one of the best summers I've had for Radio New Zealand propagation. So there are stations like that they are the stations that you were not expecting, that their frequency and time they would choose would be good for you. Last winter, I remember what was amazingly good. BBC had a frequency of 7445 that I really wish they're going to use again this year. That at 0 UT was coming in very well in Montreal. So it reminded me of the good old days when I would listen to the BBC World Service all evening on the shortwave. So that's what I'm going to check for. I'm going to check what frequencies stations are using and what target areas they're going to at the winter schedule season. And that's how I often will choose my listening opportunities. Another station that I often look at their opportunities is Radio Japan. Radio Japan has this low frequency they use in the summertime here that is almost impossible to listen to at their 2030 broadcast in the summertime. So I haven't heard Radio Japan French service in a long time. In the winter, they almost always use, and I hope they do it again this year, 9855. That one is a winner. It's easy to listen to. When they use it from the Madagascar relay on 9855, I am guaranteed almost every day to have a really nice Radio Japan French service to listen to here. So that's my way of dealing with the different schedule seasons and the different DXing seasons. I tend to be a big international broadcast listener, so that's one thing that I do. DX season for me also has one thing. Winter for me has the 20-meter band open to Europe really easily. And if solar flux gets high enough, 15 and 10 meters often open very well to South America and Europe. So my winter listening, 20 meters in the daytime with European signals, a lot of them. And 40 meters is surprising. 40 meters could be very surprising also. I'm not a big medium wave DXer, but I definitely do love tuning around regularly on the medium wave band. I did one listening session last week with the Texan PL990X on medium wave, and it was really, really cool. So that was kind of fun, and I'm gonna do it again, and it's kind of fun to it's a different experience. It's not shortwave, it's more local, it's interesting in what you bring, and it's very, very different. And from time to time, I kind of love to do that. So that's pretty much the way I work. I'm not necessarily going to plan ahead, because I know a lot of people like you plan ahead for, okay, DX season is happening. I'm going to set up this fancy antenna and this fancy thing and my radios and make myself like I want to do some DXing this winter. I'm more of in DX mode all the time, with checking out the schedules and what exactly I'm going to listen to depending on the schedule season. So I am anxiously waiting for the B20 season of schedules, because I think that's going to be interesting to see what stations are going to use and frequencies for the coming winter time here in Montreal. Keisha-scape, if only I could print the internet. Well, what you could do is download you can download or the shortwave schedules like on EIBI space as a text in a word processor or something. You just copy paste, and that won't require any internet. You'll just need a tablet or a little something that works when you're out in the woods or somewhere, but or on your phone. But that will give you you'll have your schedules with you. Gordon Lyle remembers shortwave frequency guide that Radio Shack used to sell. Purchased a new one every time it came out. The one that I often purchased that I loved was that Passport to World Band Radio with the blue pages. That was really cool. Caesar, AM DRM band. Does this mean that if a radio broadcast from Canada can be listened to in Europe? Thank you. If you're talking about the AM band, DRM refers to Digital Radio Mondiale, which is a digital mode. So in the AM band, it doesn't mean that you'll hear them in Europe. You might, because they're like here in the East Coast, we do hear some European AM station or broadcasters in the East Coast and around North America, some DX that actually. But it's not with DRM. It's worse, because DRM, you need such good signals that it'll be worse actually. It's better analog especially for DXing. Keisha's K, problem with KNLS, they have more spill off. They aren't too far from me, and with water between where the East Coast, WWCR, WRMI frequencies, even pointed away from me over land. Yeah. And I don't know how they're set up. I think they're set up in a very basic way at KNLS. That's for sure. Joe Tyson, what was the exact name of that Android scheduling app again? I'm not seeing an app named Skywave Schedules in the Play Store. Yes, you should. It is Skywave Schedules in the Play Store. I'll check it out here. I'll give you the full details. So if you go into Google Play Store, Skywave Schedules. So here it is. It's by Skywave Apps. This is what you should see. Skywave Schedules by Skywave Apps. And you should see an icon that looks like this. And that should be in the Play Store, because here I get it immediately. it's you can even if you don't have a radio with you, you can actually even listen in to a station in. It's going to bring out, if you click the listen button, it's even going to start an SDR where you can listen to probably to that broadcast. So you should see it, Joe, in the Play Store. Keisha Escape, this summer I heard the Kuwait transmitter regularly. It was relaying Radio Free Asia or something like that, though. Yeah, I heard Radio Kuwait one time this summer. One time. I'm not sure they were on 15540 like they usually are every day, because I didn't hear anything this summer most of the time. But one day, it was somewhere like in early July, I caught Radio Kuwait English analog 15540, and I think it was the only time that I heard it this summer. And most of the times when I went over 15540, it just didn't seem to be on. Matt says, Kuwait, remember how excited I was when they came back in April of 2017, and it lasted for only a month or so. Yeah, well, in 2017, they were there every day, but propagation wasn't good. When they came back, they were there all summer, pretty much. But propagation was not always good, and that was the biggest problem. And Kuwait suffers from that same problem. They're one of those stations that when they are on, they're always on the same frequency year long. 15540 in July works great to North America. 15540 in December, you hear nothing. And that's the biggest problem. One of those fantastic stations that don't understand the system of let's change frequency when we change our seasons. Gateway DYDXing, and of course Halloween night will be the celebration of Global 24. Oh man. What year was that? Global 24 was in what year did they, how long has it been? And you're right, it was Halloween night on 9395 all the time. Man, what year was that? I'm trying to remember what year. Global 24. We were all excited. We were all excited with Global 24. It was like, oh yeah, a brand new shortwave station, finally. Joe Tyson loves to do AM DXing. Well, I gotta say I was excited when last winter, and I'm going to try again for sure. When I heard something in Spanish on it was something like 630 kilohertz or something, and suddenly noticed that it was Radio Rebelde in Cuba, I was like, wow, I'm receiving Cuba on the AM band. This is so cool. Oh, really, Matt? So your AM stations are too strong. You're getting a lot of spurs and problems with longwave. I miss using the. I miss DXing non-directional beacons like I used to in the 80s and 90s. I would slowly tune. I remember I had lists of. In one evening, I would DX, and I would receive at least, easily receive at least 50, 60, 70 non-directional beacons in longwave back then. And that was all done with my 100 feet outdoor wire. But as the noise creeped up on the longwave band, it became impossible here to do anything. I hear the strongest ones, and that's all. Kasia Pavlova, thank you very much. My SDR is a SDR Play RSPDX with the software here, which is the SDR Uno software to control it. And that is connected to a MLA30 magnetic loop antenna. That's cool, Kasia Pavlova. Set up that long wire and make sure it's solid enough to withstand the winter storms. Gordon Lyle have passportable band radio books from 1990 to 2009. So 2009 was the last one? Man, I purchased all of them every year. Still love to read those, great reviews and info. The reviews were amazing also, absolutely. I would go through the radio reviews so much. I'd look at the radio reviews and look at the radios I would love to own and see how what they were giving as performance and so on. The blue pages were a lifesaver because back then no internet. Where did you get schedules? You get them in books. And the blue pages, even though the blue pages would get outdated somewhat over the year, still was better than nothing. So you would tune around. I would tune around and I'd be fascinated. It was like, oh, this is a station in German. What could that be? And then go into blue pages and it's like, okay, 15325 in German. Oh, it's Radio Canada International in German, and so on. That was so cool. There was a way to know what you're listening to, even though it was not perfect. Really cool. Oh yeah, I'll do it here. I didn't think about it, but right, Skywave schedules Android. So Amazon, Google Play here. That should work. This is the Google Play Store link. That should bring you to the page for Skywave schedules on your Android device. What else we got? Mid-2015, 5 years ago. Wow. Keegan, on Monday morning, I discovered a moth inside the display screen of the Ethan Grenic Edition satellite radio with SSB. Oh, really? Got in somewhere. It sneaked in somewhere. Take care, Eric Cottrell. Always nice to have you on board, my friend. Joe Tyson says, thanks, Joe. I had to do a Google search for Skywave Schedules app, and I found it. The Play Store on my Pixel 3 XL isn't compatible with it. Oh, really? Wow. That's weird. What? That's weird. Did you update this? Do you have the latest updates on your Pixel 3 XL? Should be okay. I don't understand why it's not. That's weird. Oh, man. Global 24. Man. Cesar is listening to Radio Romania International in Romanian. You have a signal in Montreal now. Thank you. Yeah, that one is really strong, usually 6100. So I got nothing on 6100. But I should. Usually I do. What's the frequency? 7320. Nope, I've got nothing right now here. Oh, maybe they're signed off. It's 9:59 now. They signed off not long ago. Man, Radio Marti is so strong. Let's check out Radio Havana Cuba 6000. Very distorted audio. Almost impossible to listen to. It's crazy. Crazy that they have that that bad transmitter there. Bangers 68. Nice to have you on board from the UK. MD Manuel Ak. By buy an SDR Play device. SDR Play SDRs are amazingly good, and for the price, it's they're just really, really amazing. Yeah, I did remember the live show we did back then for the Global 24. Man, crazy. Still alive as of a few minutes ago. Yeah, it's incredible how these they sneak in through little holes everywhere. Agent Smith, what are my favorite shortwave broadcast stations to listen to? I like most broadcasts. I can't, if I have to put a finger on what would be my favorite broadcaster, I would not necessarily put a finger on my favorite shortwave broadcast station to listen to. I have to say, when the signals are good, I do like to listen to BBC World Service. I do like Radio France International also. But they're a little more difficult to get here in general. But I tend to like every, as long as it's not religious broadcasting. I like most stations. I can tell you that. Silas McGee, he's got a Sears stereo boombox looking thing from maybe around the 80s, and it was an FM AM FM stereo and shortwave. Found a religious station of sorts that was a YouTube channel apparently. Yeah, that's possible. You should. Those are easy to get usually, so absolutely, that's totally possible that you got some religious station for sure. What else do we have? Mod dropping Z. Okay. Waterfall is leaking. Oh man. Joe Tyson said, I think that is a problem that I have Android 11 on my Pixel 3 XL. I suspect it's too new. Oh yeah, maybe the Android 11, maybe it's not compatible with Android 11. Yeah, you're right on that. It's possible. I remember, because, I'm on the Samsung phone, and of course you never get the latest Android on Samsung, but before at least 6 to 7 months after they release it. So the apps have time to update themselves. So yeah, that's the thing. The Pixel phones are always the first one to get the new Android. So the app probably isn't compatible yet with Android 11. That's why I didn't see it. Didn't think about that. That's the sad part of some of the apps sometimes. Jeff King, nice to have you on board from Florida. Michael W., nice to have you here. Gordon Lyle's got Voice of Greece, 9420, good signal right now. Let's check it out here. 420. Anything here? Nope, it seems the Europeans here are not making it much now. Most of the stations are weak. Quiche Escape, was Global 24 meaning to be a scammer, or were they expecting to attract investors and listeners' donations after startup and just ended up falling through? It's difficult to assess exactly, but I would give the way things happened and arrived, I think they honestly, and I say they, but I remember Glenn Hauser back then talking about that and talking about how the different emails and the different names that came up on Global 24 seem to all point to only one person. So they gave it a look of a big organization trying to do something, when in reality it seemed to be more like one person operation. I don't know, but I would say all the energy that was put into bringing that forward on the air, I have a hard time thinking you could be a scammer. I mean, why would you do a scam like that? For me, there's no sense in doing so. But what I think is that person thought that they could pull it off, have ads and have people maybe giving donations, and it would be good enough to be able to pay what it costs to run it. I mean, 24 hours a day broadcasting costs money. You need more than $10 donations here and there to get that running. And I mean, I don't remember how long it lasted, but what we know is that WRMI never got paid, and I think that I don't think it was malicious. I don't think they wanted to happen, anything like that to happen like that. I think they were just thinking it would work, and it didn't, and so they didn't have the money to do anything. And at that time, well, that's what happened. I don't think that, I personally, and that's my opinion, don't think that there was any scam in there. It's just that maybe they thought they would pull it off and be able to get enough money to have the operations working, and it never did work. Shortwave broadcasting, and I'll say it pretty much all the time, shortwave broadcasting isn't the place where you're going to make money. You want to be in a shortwave broadcasting business, you're not making money there. It's like the U.S. broadcasters. I talk about that with Sheldon Harvey from time to time when we talk about WBCQ. Look at WRMI. Look at the huge operations of WRMI. They need to have some way of driving in money somewhere, because I mean, you ain't gonna pay the bills of WRMI with renting to Radio Prague and Radio Slovakia and so on. The prices they have are darn cheap for what it is. I can't believe they can pull it off or make money. Look at WBCQ. I mean, look at that 500 kilowatt thing. There's something we don't know under that. It's impossible that they stay on the air just with what they have. I believe Brother Stair is paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for broadcasting on shortwave, and that might help shortwave broadcasters. The power, how much it costs, the land, everything that they have to pay to operate and stay on the air and maintain operations and have, technicians and engineers or whatever that look over the operations. I totally wonder how they can survive. How can WTWW, for example, play music all evening, every night almost, for hours at a time? They're not making any money with that at all. At all. Money needs to arrive from somewhere. And that is where part of me is in the mode that they have a they have some form of government money coming in to maintain some shortwave presence in a way that we don't know, but that's where I see that the only way they can survive. I have when they don't have any paid broadcast. Look at WRMI. WRMI. How many times a day they have music? That's not paying anything. I mean, they're playing music. Nobody's paying for that. It's WRMI paying for it, for the power and all of that. There's something mysterious and fishy in the shortwave broadcasting world and the private broadcasters of the U.S. that we might not be understanding. So, it's kind of weird. Gordon Lyle has lots of faint signals on waterfall and 31-meter band. Agent Smith, do I buy the World Radio TV handbook every year? No. I find it very expensive. And since I use it for information on broadcasters more than anything else, I usually skip a few years. So I had the 2017 one before. I have the 2020 one this year. I'm not going to buy the 2021. I don't find it that it's worth it. Not for my use. It is totally worth it for somebody in the industry or somebody that wants all the latest details of every broadcaster, contact info and all of that. But for a guy like me, it's not worth it. Joshua, nice to have you here. W4GOG in South Carolina. Says, and love the Texan PL990X. Oh, it is a great radio. I'm in love with it. It's in the top of my radios now. It is the top, one of the top. It is the top, one of the top receivers for me for sure. Kish Escape, that makes sense. Some startups will pad their numbers to be more attractive to investors. Yeah. But I don't think there was anything bad. I think they just, Take care, Matt. MDK2. Oh, man, it's crazy. Escape. Speaking of WBCQ, why would they need a mega transmitter if the Earth's supposed to be flat? Just put in VHF transmitter. Yeah, that pretty much, but it's one of those weirdness of all of that in the flat Earth broadcasts. Joshua says, who knows? I always wonder about WRMI, WBCQ, and WWCR, and it's not Alex Jones. Yep, there's something there. There's something there. What I've been hearing, and who knows? It could be just rumors and whatever. But what I've been hearing is that the U.S. government been helping out to maintain the transmitters on the air, just in case. Who knows? Who knows? I can tell you that. Todd, nice to have you here from Edgemont, South Dakota, listening to his Uniden BC796D. Yeah, Rose Terror saying that is shedding millions of dollars. It's not impossible by the number of hours he's on. I don't know how much he's being charged to be on. Who knows if that is what's maintaining them or not. It could be. It could be that, if Rose Terror stops, some will disappear. There's been a lot of broadcasters over the years that came on shortwave and went. I remember one was WJCR or something like that. I have a QSL here. There were quite a few private shortwave broadcasters that appeared over time, and that disappeared. So another one was KCBS, I think was the name. I mean, shows you that unless you've got a lot of people paying for transmitter time, being on shortwave and a shortwave broadcaster is not easy. Who knows? Oh, Joshua, okay. Don't own the Texan PL990X. Seeing your video is like, it's like a PL880 pretty much from what I've seen and others comparing. Yogi was a monitor for Deutsche Welle about 10 years ago. He used to send me the World Radio TV handbook for free, but I don't find it too useful. It is useful it has a very specific purpose. It's useful for people that are in radio TV industry because it has contact information and very detailed information on all the organizations and the stations. For what it is an amazing book. But it's not a book for the average shortwave listener. That's the thing. What else do we have? Yep, Gordon, the Texan PL330 was shipped yesterday. I got confirmation and I have a tracking number, and I can't wait to see when I get it. That's going to be an interesting one. Now it's the Chinese market version. It's not the production version yet. But I thought, let's check it out. We'll see it before, if it ever comes to official production run. It's going to be fun to see it and already know a little more about it before. So we'll see. Joshua says KDKA is going to have special event on ham radio bands. May want to look into that. WLW and VOA does run special events on ham radio. I'm going to check that out. Keisha Escape. No, that's where, if you're a big QSL fan, if you won the right to every station around the world for a QSL card, Keisha Escape, the World Radio TV handbook has contact information that is difficult to find on the internet. That's what I use to send my QSL, my reception report to Iran. It's the only place I found the info that would bring me that possibility. I was not able to find the Iran emails and info there. So, for that type of info, for that type of contact and who to contact and names of people at the station you want to contact and the engineers and so on, it's fantastic. It beats the internet, yes. The research of the World Radio TV handbook for that type of information is absolutely fantastic. But that's the thing. That's its purpose. It's a shortwave book, not a shortwave book. It's a broadcasting book. It's not just for shortwave. It's for AM and FM and TV stations. It's for everything that is a broadcaster around the world. That is absolutely fantastic, and there's a lot of stuff you don't find anywhere on the internet. Absolutely. But for, like I said, for an average shortwave listener, the World Radio TV Handbook is rather useless as a book, because the best schedules are all on the internet already, and pretty much all that you need for information is already on the internet. So, and updated. So for that type of listening and that type of for a regular and average shortwave listener, it ain't that interesting. It's not a book that you should necessarily own, and it's starting to get really expensive now. Books are expensive today. I got mine for 50 Canadian dollars. It's a lot of money for a book that I probably looked into it, 2 times, maybe 20 minutes, not much more. There's some radio reviews and stuff, but radio review books like Passport to World Band Radio were the books. That was the reference for radio reviews, really. Passport to World Band Radio and the schedules and stuff. That was much more of a book for the radio listener itself. So it's happening this month. I'm going to check it out, Joshua. I'm going to check it out. Joe, I wonder if shortwave could take a different approach and become more local. I was listening to the Marine Net the other day. Net control was in South Dakota. Guy was booming into Virginia. There were different things that were made to have shortwave stations and broadcasters try to bring stuff, but shortwave, by the nature of how it is, propagates far away anyways. And the problem is, so you can't, I remember reading once, says, why don't they have ads? They don't have ads because, the car dealership in your own city doesn't care about a guy 2,000 miles away that will never buy a car from him. There could technically be a general thing like, if they have Coca-Cola ads, but Coca-Cola is everywhere in every market of local stuff. So shortwave isn't interesting in any way for them. And, you can't monetize really shortwave. It's never, many have tried. There have been quite a few stations that have tried to monetize shortwave. They never succeeded. It's not the way that it was meant, and the fact that signals broadcast far away because of the nature of shortwave. If you want to broadcast locally, you got AM radio, FM radio. Shortwave is a different thing. It's a different player. Robert Washburn, what do you think of the Texan PL600? It's a great radio. It's a great, inexpensive starter radio for anybody that doesn't have one. I would personally probably go to the Texan 660 first rather than the 600 because the audio is better. But it's still a great radio. I got mine here, and it still works great after so many years. Tapas Prananink from remote village in West Bengal, India. Very interested in DXing, but I have not yet learned the whole thing. Can someone help me a little? Well, if you look at live shows regularly, if you look at the videos on the channel, you can join the Facebook group, official SWL channel. You'll have a lot of information and a lot of people that are going to help out for sure. Keisha Escape. One of the arguments for World Radio TV Handbook was like DXing really small, unheard of stations all over South America and Africa as such. But I agree with you. I never bought it. Yes and no, because I mean it has information on a lot of stations and a lot of things. Yes, it has details of a lot of very small local stations. but you have that on the internet. And if you're on some shortwave blogs, like, for example, I'm on the World Radio DX Listening Digest blog with Glenn Hauser. Everything goes there. Everything is, as soon as the station is heard, you get all the information and people go crazy, and you have all of that, happening. But they do have that World Radio TV handbook will often have some information about, a station and the times and the frequencies and the languages they might broadcast, and absolutely. But for the average shortwave listener, like I said, I don't, Jeff King, back in the day, World Radio TV Handbook, the book for a listener, was different back then, and the addresses were good. Sent QSLs, had address for QSL's regular address, and so on. Yeah, well, they still have quite a lot of that information in there, but it's not like, and of course, over the years, it probably did change. I need to check one. I got one from, I think, 1995. I need to take it out and compare how it changed over 25 years. But the real book that every shortwave listener really wanted was The Passport to World Band Radio. So, Keegan says, my dad, W9JEF, told me the mod may have came inside through a hole. Yeah, probably a headphone jack or something. They went through a hole, that's for sure. Keisha Escape, it's when you have an online presence, I regularly get kind of a little bash. People saying, well, you have ads on YouTube on your channel, and you're in for the money, and I've never hidden that. I mean, I'm not in for the money. I'm in because it's my paycheck. Why not have a paycheck of something you love? I don't see a problem in monetizing my channel. But that said, I personally used, because, a lot of people came to me and said, well, why don't you have sponsors? If you have sponsors, it gets a little tricky sometimes in what you got to do. You have to change, you got to be more careful what you say, how you do it, what you talk about. You got to be more careful as what is, if you talk about a product from a sponsor, how are you going to talk about the product from the sponsor? So there's ways to do things. I concentrated on, I solely get my money from the ads running on YouTube, and it is my paycheck. It is my salary. So yeah, but I don't have a problem with that personally, and I think if you have a problem with that, it's your problem, not mine. But that said, by not accepting sponsors, I can say what I want, and that's the thing of having sponsors on a website or not. Keisha Escape. Texan isn't a sponsor, so I can say and have been saying very clearly what I like and don't like of the PL990X. ICOM is not a sponsor. I can say the ICOM CR30 is a crappy front end. I like it like that. But, some others take an approach where sponsorship is something they use to get their money. When you get sponsors, you tend to react and say things differently because you have to be careful. You have to be, without having to kiss the butt of a sponsor, you will still be careful in what you say about some of their products, or you might want to push something. Here I got nothing to push because I don't have sponsors. I just make the money off of the ads that are playing. That's it. It depends the way that you want to monetize the content you create. That said, shortwave listening posts I find very, very useful and very interesting. It's like every website. Every website has a way of doing things. You take what's good and, you move on to what you don't like. Glenn, nice to have you on board. What else do we have? What else do we have? Gordon Lyle, I like the Spectrum monitor, but it's still not as good as Passport to World Band Radio was, or to me it isn't, but it's still good. Read, Passport and monitoring times are great. Yeah, Passport to World Band Radio was great. That was, I think for the regular average listener, that was the book. The Spectrum monitor is good. What I would say that, and that's not just a Spectrum monitor, by the way. I think it's every magazine. I was a big magazine buff, in my early adult years, I would buy dozens of magazines every month. I would have astronomy magazines. I would have radio magazines during times, Popcom. I would have computer magazines. What I found over years of being subscribed to these magazines is how they tend to kind of have a repeat after some time. I'm getting kind of there with the Spectrum monitor right now. I like it, but I've been subscribed to Spectrum monitor for at least, 4 or 5 years now. I kind of am getting bored reading it. It's like, okay, that article about whatever that, they talked about that 3 years ago. I don't know. I tend to get bored at magazines over a certain amount of time. And actually over the last 20, 30 years, all the magazines I would buy, I would often at some point jump over months that I would just, okay, this month I'm not buying that. Or I would be several months without buying one specific magazine. And after a while, I would come back. Spectrum Monitor is a great magazine. It has in the feel and the look of monitoring times, and actually a lot of people from monitoring times are now in the Spectrum Monitor. But I don't know, I'm getting bored of the Spectrum Monitor lately. It's crazy. Crazy. Show is sponsored by Paul the Cat. I'll have cat food sponsors. That would be good. I don't talk about cat food, so I'll have cat food sponsors. This episode of the live show is by Whiskas. Purina. It makes the best cat food around. Oh, man. So, I just buy the radio. I say what I have to think about, what I think about it, what's good and what's bad. And I think it gives me a very high note on what people, if people want to know what a radio is all about, they know that they come here and that I'll just say it straight out. What I like, what I don't like. Next is up to you to make your mind. Do you want that, or you'll rather choose another model? I don't know. I don't owe anybody anything in the companies, I don't owe Texan anything. I did ask them for a PL990 as or at a reduced price. And they never really came back. And I thought about it at one point and was like, maybe that's better like that. And then I came out to you guys. You guys came out with, the donations that made me purchase the 990X. Plus, what was given to me a little later, I was able to purchase the PL330. I'll be able to be very honest. And, what I think of these radios, I think that gives me eye notes, and people know that when they come here, what I say about a radio is what it is. And that's what you guys want anyways. If you're going to spend, $235 US, you want to know the straight dope of what the radio is all about and what's good and what's bad. Maybe it's going to change your mind, maybe not, but at least you know what it is, You know what's good. Keisha Escape, Shell Pirate Radio, local HF, 500 watt AM station. So, Take care, Prasad. It was nice to have you on board from India. Stay safe. So, hey guys, been on for 2 hours and 35 minutes. I hope you enjoyed the show today. We'll be back on Saturday. Remember that the show now is on Wednesday and Saturday. Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's 0 hours Universal Time. And next show will be Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 20 hours UTC. And hope that you enjoyed today's show. Hey, Sergeant Rock. It's nice to have you on board. 4 p.m. in the Hawaii Islands, 84 degrees. Wow, enjoy that beautiful weather, my friend. Take care, everybody. And see you Saturday at 20 UT or next week at the regular Wednesday show at 8 p.m. Eastern, 0 Universal Time. Stay safe. Love you all. And always nice to have you on board. Take care, everybody. Love you.